Hello and welcome to the Circle at Kismet. Today we're going to be doing a love reading based on the influences of the planets. We're going to be trying to get some guidance on the next love that's coming towards us. If you've not done a pick-a-pile reading before, close your eyes, take some nice deep breaths and center your mind. When you're ready, open your eyes and see which pile you're drawn to. As with readings of this kind, take what resonates and leave behind what doesn't. If you have a closer look at the piles, this is pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, pile 4, pile 5, pile 6, and pile 7. Timestamps will be in the description box below, and I'll see you at your pile. If you pick pile number 1, here's your reading. So the planet that vibrates to pile 1 is Mercury, and we can glean a certain amount of information about the person that's coming towards you, not only by the planet but also by the gemstone that accompanies it. So Mercury is known as the messenger of the gods. Mercury is all about self-expression, action, communication. Those represented by this planet are often very persuasive, they're good negotiators, they have a way with words, and are fantastic at turning situations to their advantage. They love gathering information and are strong thinkers, love analysing things and imagine various scenarios in their heads. They're also logical, and those who provide solutions, taking things apart to see the workings before reconstructing them bigger and better than before. This planet vibrates to travel, so it may be part of their job, they may be well travelled, or they may be from another country or culture, or have a profound understanding of others. The zodiac signs that vibrate to Mercury are Gemini and Virgo, and the day is Wednesday. So I've picked a gemstone sphere to go with all of the planet envelopes and the cards, and this is going to reflect what this person that's coming towards you needs to bring into their life to be their optimum self. In this case with Mercury, I have picked the Sunstone, which is quite a nice vibrant stone and runs parallel with the planet. It's all about joy, abundance and freedom. And people who are drawn to this gemstone tend to want release from the heavy restraints of daily life. They often have inherent talents that are discovered purely by chance and which evolve to become an interest, a hobby or potentially a career. They don't really know how to be spontaneous. They would love to be, but they lack what it takes to actually allow the ability to let their hair down and throw caution to the wind. And it really passes these individuals by, and they are missing out on so much just by picking up on opportunities as they come to them. They also bottle up their feelings and can be dependent on others and need also a release of fear of the future and things they can't see or control. Okay, so in the tarot cards that I've picked for them, we've got the Six of Wands, we've got the Three of Swords, we've then got the Knight of Cups, and lastly the Nine of Wands. I don't think this person is actively seeking a relationship at the moment. I think if they come across someone who fits in with them and who is totally compatible with them, that would be brilliant and it can grow from there, but they're not actively looking for somebody at the moment. I'm not sure if they've either had issues in their family where they've watched people be emotionally wounded, or if they've just come out of a complex relationship and they may well still have ties to it. But I think that's affecting their decision of not stepping straight into a relationship or actually looking for somebody. They almost have a feeling that they won't get hurt if they avoid a relationship or avoid going down the route of that family members maybe been down. but also you don't get the highs and the niceties, the intimacy, the closeness and the positives of a union if you obviously don't put yourself out there and be open to meeting somebody and to creating that partnership. They definitely need to make decisions when something arises that's a choice. They seem to want to sit on the fence. They don't want to jump either way. They don't want to commit themselves. But that is one of the things they really need to do. They really need to work on when they make a decision, following through with it and seeing it all the way through to fruition. And now onto the cards that I've picked for you. We've got the love card. We've got the King of Air. We've then got the Chariot. And lastly, we've got the Six of Fire. You've got 2 6s and a 7 in your cards, which kind of means you're at 6s and 7s, which means you're at odds with yourself. I think you know what you want and where you want to be eventually, but the process of getting there, you're not quite sure what your next step should be. I think you've been torn in different directions by romance. I think you've had the promise of things that didn't materialise. I think you've had people who have come across with one kind of personality and then suddenly they show their true colours and you feel let down, and it's hard to move on from that. I think you've had to rebuild yourself several times. We've got the King of Air there. Now that is either someone who is close to you, you've relied on them, you've trusted them, they've helped you in various ways, and they've kind of helped you build who you are today, or that actually represents you in your independent state. The fact that you've been on your own, you've built up your own personality, what you want to project to a potential suitor coming into you, and that you're stable and you know exactly what you want and where you're coming from. You just now need the direction to back it. So the next 2 cards are about when you come together, and you've got Time to Go and To Be Fair. So now's the time for action when this relationship appears, and it's going to be a time of transformation and swift flowing movement. It's going to gain momentum as it grows. I feel like there's a sense of reevaluating your life when this relationship comes in, and you're weighing up what you've outgrown. There may be something that you're leaving, a situation, your home, a job, a college course, something that's been a part of your life for a while, but you're realising that you've detached from that some time ago, and this really needs to be cleared for something bigger and better that's waiting in the wings to come in. So a balanced approach is required. Acting on impulse may feel right, but if something turns up and it needs to be considered, think of all the options before you actually jump in and make a choice and to activate your decision. So the next cards we've got are your obstacles. So the first one of those is Envy, and the second card is Victory. So if you can put aside envy and jealousy, or even comparing your relationship or your situation to other people's, because the grass is always going to seem greener because you're not in their situation. Also, if you jump from one relationship to another because you feel things aren't right, or because things get a bit stale, things become boring, or the sparks died, and you feel the investment of your time now seems hollow, you really kind of need to dedicate yourself to someone that is the right person. You need to find that person and put that energy into that connection, and to keep it fresh and to keep both parties engaged, and then that way you'll get the victory that you desire. So for how the relationship will progress, you have got the People card, Professional Assistance. So these are a couple who can be relied on. They can rely on each other. They are totally supportive of one another, and their potential for the future is boundless. There's a chance of working together, or teaching each other, or aiming for the same goals and feeling as committed and determined as they can be. Others are going to look to your relationship as a benchmark for their own. And when you ooze happiness, it shows, and this union will create a strong and loving relationship if you can both apply yourselves at the same level and aim for the same focal points on what you want in the future. And then lastly, we've got a card on the prospects of the relationship, and you have the Stork. So the Stork is a really good summary card. It denotes obviously birth, it denotes flying high, it brings in good news about expansion or growth. The Stork's also a sign that you're on the verge of a huge change, and one that involves starting anew, wiping the slate clean and going after the dreams that you've harboured and worked for so long. So what a fantastic summary card. If you've enjoyed this reading, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next reading. If you pick pile number 2, here's your reading. For pile 2, the planet that you've selected is Neptune, and the planets can actually give us an indication as to the personality traits of the person that's coming towards you. So with regard to Neptune, it represents a person who is at ease with themselves. They can be quite artistic or have big dreams that they're trying to manifest into reality, and they easily adjust to their surroundings or their circumstances. They're ruled by the god of the sea, so they're deep and can be quite hard to read. They are good at offering comfort and empathy to those who need it though, and they do have a heightened intuition or psychic ability. Whether they've tapped into that at the moment or not, that is obviously got a potential. The flip side of the personality is that they can sometimes be quite vague or uncertain, with an inability to decide or commit to a certain path. They can become quite frustrated if they're not fully immersed in something, if they're not making progress as quickly as they felt they should, if they're feeling any kind of stagnation or that they're treading water, it makes them really uncomfortable, and then they can become quite flighty in personality. The planet Neptune vibrates to Pisces and the day Friday. I've selected a gemstone to go with each of the planets, which gives further details of what the person coming towards you may need to bring into their life or to ground. Now, with regard to Neptune, the gemstone I've picked is Apatite, because it looks a little bit like the sea. And the qualities of Apatite, there's often a need to ground energy, to bring ideas and spontaneity into a solid, tangible entity. The individual that is reflected by this gemstone is going through an intense healing process, and there's many lessons to be learned, not to mention past lives and karmic connections that are either to be revealed or healed and released. And this is all part of the natural evolution. Apatite vibrates well with animals, so this person may be an animal lover or work with animals in some way. There's a need for those drawn to this gemstone to be more of a team player and to shun the detached solo pursuits that they really enjoy, allowing them to open up to others, to take on their opinions, to embrace a different side of their personalities, and to challenge themselves in areas that they don't at first glance feel very comfortable in. So the tarot cards I've selected to reflect the person coming towards you are the Four of Wands, we've got the Five of Wands, got the King of Pentacles, the Phoenix, and the Page of Swords. The tarot cards for them reflect that this person's really battled for everything that they hold dear. Everything's been a little bit of an uphill struggle, and it's taken strength and resources they've really had to dig deep for that they felt they didn't have at the time. They've both won and lost during the course of this phase. They are at a stage now where they don't really need anybody or anything around them, but if you want to be a part of their lives and you're prepared to prove that you can be a positive addition, they will then jump at a chance for a relationship with you. And there's a mutual appreciation here with somebody that's on a par with them, and the relationship on that basis will thrive. They may have a child in their life that's around them, that's dependent on them, or they may just have a childlike sense of humour, but there is quite a light-hearted side to this person that doesn't actually always get to see the light of day unless you dig deep into their personality. So the cards that reflect you are the Four of Air, the Messenger of Fire, the Star, and the Moon. You've spent a lot of time soul searching. I think you've looked at yourself and tried to find a reason why the right relationship hasn't come to you, or why relationships or relations in general have failed, and why they've flagged and petered off. There's definitely a mystical air about you. I think you've taken time out, you've allowed your intuition to be heightened, you've bettered yourself, you've done a lot of inner work and a lot of healing. You can almost feel this relationship that's about to happen coming into being, but it's just been out of reach up until now. But the wait is almost over, and the person that you've been trying to manifest is most definitely on its way, because you're ready for it. The cards for when you come together, you've got No Place Like Home and Happy Happy. Both of those cards basically say the same thing, that you're going to enjoy the simple things in life, that it's about being in sync with each other and with the universe, and a feeling of coming home and just absorbing being in the present. This is a time to let go of any concerns or worries or overthinking, as when you come together in the reality, it's what's meant to be, and you just really need to relax and enjoy it. The cards for how the relationship will progress, we've got the Thinking Woman, and we've got Appreciation. The Thinking Woman card doesn't necessarily have to be a female. It's normally someone who's got quite an agile mind, who's quite intelligent, who gives good input. It's people that are on a similar par, and it proves that you mentally stimulate each other as well as physically being attracted to each other. The bond technically goes a lot deeper than that. You may actually have had a connection in a previous life, because there is a deep knowing of each other and appreciation of each other. For the obstacles in the relationship, we've got victim mentality, increase, and milestone. The obstacles in this union can be potentially a depressive or self-debilitating mindset. Don't dwell on anything negative, as next to the increase card, it's actually magnifying and expanding what's at the fore. That can obviously be positive or negative depending on how it's viewed, but when it comes up obviously next to the victim mentality, it could actually be that's increased. Try not to compare yourself to others, because you're living your journey and your story and not theirs. It's easy to try and put yourself on a par with people you feel are your peers, but technically they have been through a different journey, and yours is also very different to theirs. There may be some issues with friendship groups, and maybe not getting on with each other's friends, or people being left out of invitations, just a little bit of awkwardness. And I think you've got to try not to let things spiral out of control, or let your mind wander into deeper meanings. Try and do things that can change the situation, communicate, try and find a middle ground, let things go that don't matter, and pick your battles, the ones that you need to fight and the ones that you really need to let go of. There's no point in putting energy into something that is of a negative sense and that gets you nowhere. And then your summary card for the relationship is the Bat. The Bat card teaches us to use all of our senses and to trust our intuition, most importantly. It also says that dark days are over and we now must embrace the new that's coming in. When something doesn't work, it's got to be released, and to just trust that things will now fall into place, because this is now a positive area that you're entering and things will work out for the better and for the higher good. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that reading. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next reading. If you picked pile number 3, here's your reading. For those of you who picked pile 3, you have drawn Uranus as your planet. Hopefully the planet itself will give us a little bit of intuition towards the person that's coming towards you. The personality of those who are represented by Uranus is always different from the norm. They are truly individual, original and unconventional, and they may not be your usual type. These people are those who have radical ideas, invent or create. They are spontaneous and thrive on new challenges, embracing sudden change and enjoying riding the wave of the unknown. They are free spirits and enjoy exploring new or exciting. On the flip side of their personality, when things become stale or burn out, so does their enthusiasm. They can border on eccentric and can take things they are passionate about too far. I've picked a gemstone to go with each of the planets, and with Uranus I have picked lapis lazuli. And the gemstones I've selected are things that maybe the people coming towards you may need to address or look at. With regard to lapis, the stone stimulates the need for objectivity, good judgment and analysis, looking into things with a more critical view. Lapis is often a powerful truth crystal, telling us to be more honest with ourselves and to seek the real details, to dig deeper and find honesty in situations that we feel harbour doubt. It's also good for connection and communication. It heralds a time where clarity and expression and putting yourself across is heightened and judged. It's a really good stone for public speaking or performing, even standing in front of an audience to give a speech or a lesson, so it gives a boost of self-confidence and bravery to accomplish things that are out of your comfort zone. I've picked tarot cards both for you and for the other person that's coming into your life. These are their cards. We start off with the Hermit. The next card is the Hierophant. Then the High Priestess. And the last card is the Page of Pentacles. The cards represent someone who I think's withdrawn themselves from relationships or from going out to meet someone, either because hurt has stopped them being a part of it, or their job has just led them to being so tied up. It could be studying, it could be work, it could be other commitments have drawn them away from meeting people and the potential of going into a relationship. They've got a very deep spiritual side, although they may not have found the true depths of this as yet. They're just touching the surface of it, and they're very good with their hands. If they don't do a craft or something through work or a hobby, they are literally just a handy person to have around. For your cards, we have the Queen of Air, Strength, the Ace of Water, and the Messenger of Air. From your cards, I think you've felt quite different from other people around you, and you kind of have this underlying feeling that you don't fit in, but you do, and you fit in perfectly. And people gravitate towards you for advice and help and empathy. You're a wise soul with a young heart and an unbiased outlook. Your morals and boundaries are strong. You have few enemies, but those who see you as this are only envious and jealous of what you have, your position, your status, or how well liked you are by others. You are truly held in high regard by so many. It's a really positive overview of your personality, and I think more so than ever you're ready now to meet somebody. The cards you have for how your relationship will progress is Loyal Heart and Higher Power. The combination of those two cards together depicts a relationship that's one that you can wait an entire lifetime for. You may not be instantly drawn to each other, and maybe on the outside you are not each other's types, but personality-wise you complement each other perfectly, and the universe has chosen you to come together to learn from each other and to evolve together. Loyalty is a major factor for you both, and when it comes to relationships, this is one of the true things that you both look for in an opposing partner. And that higher power, I think, says that you've potentially either met in a previous life, or that you've almost touched base with each other prior to actually coming together. Like, you may know this person, or when you meet them they may feel very familiar to you, even if you've not actually physically met them in the flesh before. In your obstacles section of the relationship, you've got commitment and you've got loss. The commitment and the loss cards coming up together as the obstacles, I think really denotes that there's going to be not wanting to commit, not wanting to rush in to commit, not because of a past loss or because of something that didn't work out, be it on your side or their side, or somewhere back in your family history. Maybe you've had a parent that's been divorced, or maybe you've watched something not fully manifest in a friend's life where it's gone wrong and you don't want that to be you. Don't rush into anything. You honestly don't have to, because when you are ready to commit, you will both be ready to commit and you will know. So just treat this relationship with a clean slate. That's what's required. You just need to reassure yourself that this relationship is like no other you've had. It's a totally new experience for both of you, and literally face things as they come. But commitment will literally fall into place as it's supposed to, and it will feel right. The cards for how your relationship will progress is Financial Constraints and the first chakra, Archangel Michael. That's quite an interesting mix of cards, because the Archangel Michael is a burning desire to set firm roots down, but needing to know that the decision is the right one. And the financial restraints could relate to obviously investing in something like a home or in a business, or some monetary commitment which needs to be a considered purchase. So just be fully sure that if you want to proceed, that you have weighed everything up, you've made a firm decision. Obviously bearing in mind the obstacles cards, this really needs to be something in time. But if it's something like a business and something where you're coming together and it's manifesting what you want and moving your relationship on, just make sure you fully investigate the ins and outs of it, and make sure you're going in the right direction for both of you. And then lastly, the card to summarise your relationship is the Key. The Key card is about success and achievement, and more importantly about opportunities and taking them as they come along. Being in the card, the key is in the palm of the hand. It really depicts that you've got exactly what you want just resting there right in front of you. I think this relates to quite well to the whole reading. I think if you know what you want and it's coming towards you and you're sure, then reach out and get it. Reach out and go after what you want. You deserve it. You've done all the groundwork, and this really now should be yours. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the reading. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next reading. If you pick pile number 4, here's your reading. So if you picked pile 4, the planet that you were drawn to is Venus, and the personality of the person who's represented by Venus and the person that's potentially coming towards you is a person who's very expressive, and has a unique personality. They've got quite a nurturing disposition. They're drawn to things of beauty, the arts, creativity, and have a very clear, structured way of thinking and planning. They have a wealth of enthusiasm, throw their heart and soul into what they believe in, and enjoy helping others to make them feel of use, or to share their abilities to a wider audience. Venus is the goddess of love, so their relationships seem to be well balanced and harmonious, and because of this they make great team players in friendship, business, sport, love or family. The other side of their personality shows they can be too involved in trying to help people. Their presence, advice or enthusiasm can come at the wrong time or overwhelm. Their charm and seduction skills are second to none. Therefore, they can be guilty of having a roving eye. So for each of the planets, I've picked a gemstone sphere which I feel vibrates to that planet, and it often advises us areas that the person coming towards us may be slightly weaker in, or areas that they could really improve or look into actually putting some more work into. So with Venus, I've picked the crystal velvet fluorite, which is often connected to decision making and following through on projects and committing yourself to certain choices. Those who spend a lot of time helping others often put their own plans on the back burner, and they simply run out of time or put obstacles in the way to prevent a conclusion. So velvet fluorite can help with that. The gemstone lifts moods and helps shift outdated, stale and stagnant situations that are clung to unwittingly. And it also is an abundant crystal, reminding us to go after our heart's desires, that anything you think can be manifested, and if you want something, put your focus into it, throw your heart and soul into it and make it a reality. So the tarot cards that I've picked for them are the Eight of Swords, the Five of Swords, the Four of Pentacles, and the Seven of Wands. I think this person feels that their decision making is not very good, and choices that they've made in the past have been poorly selected. I think maybe a job or maybe a course of learning has been a lot more difficult for them than they imagined it to be. And I think because all of their focus has gone into areas that they feel that they're lacking on, they've been quite closed off to love. They may have had relationships in the past that they felt haven't had a lot of meaning, and have just kind of gone along on the wave of seeing somebody and it being nice and settled, but not really having a lot of substance to it. They have an internal battle where they have to think, does real love exist and do they actually deserve it? There's a certain amount of doubt in these people, and although they've got hope and it will come to fruition with the right person, they're torn between having their independence and being on their current path, or staying with a partner that makes life easy, or detaching and moving to find the love that they so desperately need. And the tarot cards that were picked for you are the Hierophant, the Ten of Water, the King of Earth, and the Magician. Your cards show that you are a beautiful balance of spiritual magic that is wrapped in a human package. You are grounded, you've learned how to utilise your abilities and your talents to the best of your ability. There's still a lot of potential out there that you've not tapped into. There's definitely some kind of teaching or some kind of learning that you'd like to do. You've shied away from it thinking now's not the right time, but that will be picked up in the future when the time's right for you. It's important that you fulfil the desire to do what you want with regard to more studying, as it will expand your knowledge and it will most certainly boost your self-confidence. There's also an unexpected reason to celebrate, and it's at a time when gifts are exchanged. I'm thinking probably December time, but it could actually be another gathering or another celebration, but that is actually going to be quite a high for you. That's going to be a really good time for you. The cards for when you come together are Fork in the Road and Time for a Nap. So you need to access what you really want. You don't jump into what somebody else wants you to do to please them. I think you need to take your time. You need to research things properly. You need to ensure that you're making your own choices for your own reasons. And if it comes to it, as the card says, sleep on it, take a nap. If you have to, when you get to the fork in the road and a decision needs to be made, rest assured it is the time for complete change and adopting a new direction, but do it in your own time. Make sure you're more than happy to make that move and that you're confident that you are actually doing it for the right reasons. The cards you've got for how your relationship will progress are Angel of Balance and Action. Balance is definitely the key in this relationship. You balance each other out, you complement one another, and you support each other, and you realign in times of need. As the relationship moves on, you need that balance to morph to how the relationship's changing and to come back into alignment with each other. Your summary card for the relationship is the Cross. The Cross is a card of renewal. It's laying yourself bare to the universe and to spirit, and you've asked for what you'd like and you're now waiting with open arms for it to be delivered. It's a time of starting again. It's a time of new growth, looking forwards rather than backwards. It puts things like loneliness and darker days and concerns and worries and all the heavy things in life to one side, and just has an essence of pure love and wanting to be nurtured, wanting for something to come in and to take off and to build on that foundation of that new start. So I think that's a really nice card to end on. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed your reading. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next reading. If you pick pile number 5, here's your reading. The planet that connects to pile 5 is Jupiter, and we can gain hopefully a little bit of knowledge from the person that's coming towards you for a relationship from the attributes of the planet. So the person represented by the planet of Jupiter arrives like a bolt from the blue. Jupiter's the god of sky and thunder, and also being the largest of the planets, their character can be larger than life. They're well liked and have an infectious sense of humour. They're protectors, leaders, and devoted to their cause. They're great supporters and givers of advice. They are hugely knowledgeable in a wide range of topics, if not academically, then worldly, and have a heightened observation skills as they like to glean more. They also like to learn, to explore new things, and to evolve through experiences and interaction. On the flip side of the personality, they can be prone to being impulsive, blinkered in their own outlook, as well as enjoying the luxuries of life, merriment, gambling, and potentially overindulgence. The planet Jupiter vibrates to Sagittarius and to the day Thursday. I've picked a semi-precious gemstone for each of the planets, and for Jupiter I've picked brown aragonite. The gemstones often refer to the areas that the person coming towards you may need to pay attention to, or they may be weaker areas that maybe need a little bit more focus. So with brown aragonite, it's said to alleviate pressure and stress and to combat fatigue and anger. It helps to instill boundaries and discipline, which can help with people who give too much of themselves or don't want to say no, either through guilt or just getting tied up in the moment. Brown aragonite vibrates to the earth, so those who are represented by this crystal may well work with the earth. They could be earth signs or could literally need to be more grounded to accomplish what they wish. There is a side to their personalities that can be very nurturing, healing, and to help others, but the facade they wear will not always allow this to shine, and unless you get to know them really well, you may not actually get to see that side of their personality for some time. I've also picked some tarot cards for them. So we've got the King of Swords, we've got the Emperor, we've got the Fool, got the Three of Wands, and finally the Devil. This person is very diverse in what they can do and achieve. In work, they may be required to multitask. They may have very different facets to their personality. They may be studying at college two completely different polar opposite courses and still be able to apply themselves to both in equal measure. They first of all have an authoritative side that's quite straight-laced and quite blinkered. They come across as a deep thinker. But then the other side of them, they actually enjoy an adventure and a challenge. So you've got very different sides to the personality there. They also have an impulsive streak, and that can actually get them into trouble because they jump in with things that they probably should think more about, and things they love, they can go to excess. So obviously they need to reel that in slightly, because that can cause some problems for them. And then I've drawn some tarot cards for you, and they are the Five of Fire. We've then got the Sun. Then we've got the Ace of Air. And the Page of Earth. From the cards, it appears that you've been slowly changing things in your life, trying to make things work for the better, or to create an inner happiness or peace that's about to come into full fruition. So the cards for you coming together are Imagine and the Fates. The combination of those cards is really about both believing what you put out there can be achieved, and joint focus on projects increases the manifestation. You can be pleasantly surprised at how similar your mindset is and your goals are and your thought patterns. The paths were entwined a long time before you met. You may have had past lives together. You may have had intuition that you're about to enter each other's lives. So this familiarity through intuition was already built, like your souls had already met, so to speak, on an astral plane, or literally just through you picking up on each other. But that is why you're going to be very close, and why you're going to be very, very similar in your outlooks together. The obstacle cards that you have are Creative Endeavour and Conflict. The picture of the calm waters becoming choppy when there's an intervention from another or from a situation really depict those obstacles. Something's going to potentially unfold unexpectedly, and the damage and the damage limitation will really be down to how you and your potential partner react to the situation. If you approach it with caution, the ripples can go far and wide, but they will be containable. If you steam in and literally allow this to take over, this obviously can make a monumental change to your path together. So it's just about accepting communication and expression rather than just jumping in and reaction. So that's the advice on that. Your progression cards as the relationship goes on is Cornucopia and Strategy. So the relationship and how it progresses. The cards basically are a sign of hard work resulting in an abundant harvest. The seeds have been planted and the plants have been nurtured, and the fruits of your labour have been gathered. You're feeling very blessed. The next phase is to plan, to build and to gain on this wonderful time. Now is the time to put more plans into progress, so as the next reward you reap is something equally as desired. So your summary card for the relationship is the Lilies. The Lilies is all about creating a new comfort zone, homely surroundings. It's a period of self-reflection, looking back on how far you've come, taking stock, if necessary, cutting away any dead wood, things that you don't need anymore, emotions, just literally, rather than putting things in the back of your mind, just letting them go and releasing them, things that no longer serve you or that aid your life journey. Most importantly, let go of the past and allow the present to start giving you the destination you need, the brighter, the happier future that you've actually been trying to manifest. So hopefully you've enjoyed that reading. Give us a thumbs up if you did, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next reading. If you pick pile number 6, here's your reading. So if you picked pile 6, the planet that vibrates to your selection is Mars. And we can tell a little bit about the personality of the person that's coming towards you by the planet itself. The planet of Mars represents strength, not just in the physical sense, but strength of will and character too. People represented by this planet will be ambitious, impulsive, disciplined and resilient. They may be competitive, motivated and soldier on to where they want to be. On the other hand, they can also be aggressive, quick to react and confrontational, as this planet vibrates to the god of war, but this is normally only when in pursuit of the truth or when it is something they are passionate about. The zodiac signs that Mars vibrates to is Aries and Scorpio, and the day is Tuesday. I've picked a semi-precious gemstone sphere to go with each of the planets. This reflects the weaker side of someone that's coming in, or maybe an area that they need to look at or maybe nurture slightly more. With Mars, the gemstone or semi-precious gemstone I've picked is a strawberry quartz. It's a calming stone and it's really good for someone who works in a fast-paced environment. It's a great stone to combat sadness or disappointment, and it encourages people to see the bigger picture. It's a stone of generosity and gratitude combined, so it allows you to feel good in giving and receiving. It helps amplify intentions of love, harmony, and the need to balance all areas of life. It teaches us acceptance that some people will test and challenge us, but this leads us to be more of a well-rounded character and to learn from empathising with others. And finally, it inspires us to live in the moment, to stop, take stock, and to embrace the present, taking in all that is currently fully to appreciate in life. I've also picked some tarot cards to reflect them, and we have the Queen of Cups, the Seven of Swords, the Four of Swords, and the Star. From the cards, this individual has had a strong nurturing feminine influence around them and is therefore has more potential to understand that gender. However, this could have actually been a little bit stifling. It could be a previous relationship, it could be a family member, and they might have slightly mollycoddled them and protected them from a lot in life. For some reason, they feel that they've got a depleted energy. They feel that they either do too much or they don't have enough energy to do what they want to do, and it's kept this person back from doing some of the things that they've really wanted to do. It could be that they've faced their fair share of negativity. There's been a certain amount of backstabbing around them, particularly through friends, but they've still retained quite an innocent, naive element to their personality, which craves something new and something untried, and totally the ability to love wholeheartedly. The cards that we've got here to reflect you are the Five of Air, Call, the Fortune's Wheel, and the Hangman. The cards kind of show that you, at one point you were self-assured and independent, but the universe has thrown certain things into your life that's caught you off guard, it's thrown you off balance, and now you're not really quite sure what's coming next. So it's given you an inner conflict, and you're lacking determination and focus in certain areas. You need to collate your thoughts, you need to select which direction you want to go in, and you need to access what you want out of life at this current time. I think there's two particular paths that you're interested in. One is either picking up some learning or a course or a path that you began and you either didn't add to the foundation you'd built on already, or you didn't complete the course. And the other one is something craft related, which doesn't bring in a huge amount of money and probably wouldn't necessarily be a career move, but it is something that gives you great pleasure. The cards when you come together are the Tribe and Message in a Bottle. So this may be something as simple as a message starting this relationship off and it evolving from there, but it's definitely going to be the start of drawing in your soul tribe. Those are the people who understand you without judgment. They're the people who will help you without expectation of reward, and most importantly, those who vibrate on your level. It may not necessarily just be the person that's coming into your life. It could be their friendship groups, it could be their family. It's an expanding group of like-minded souls. So that's obviously something that's going to happen when you come together. Your obstacle cards are the Teacher and Behind a Mask. Now, the obvious on the surface meaning of this obviously results to some kind of learning, but I don't know if there's been some altercation with a teacher or if there's been issues with people in authority. That can obviously play out. People having hidden feelings as well, being behind the mask. There's definitely hidden things that need to be revealed at the right time. Maybe it's you that's not being honest. Maybe you're not being honest with yourself. You need to find the right time to lay your cards on the table. There's valuable lessons out there to be learned, and either teaching or expanding the knowledge, expanding your consciousness, which is obviously what came out in the other cards. For the progress of your relationship, you got the Temple Path and the Sun. Together, the Temple Path and the Sun are about being on the right path for you. It's about the illuminated path that the universe is shining light on, and they're highlighting areas that you need to pay attention to and leading you where you ultimately need to be. Obviously, the Sun's alongside that, which is a card of joy and travel and holidays and positive days to come. So it really is a beautiful combination. And your summary card is House. The House card is a lovely card to conclude on, as it depicts a happy home and in general positivity. There's a sense of accomplishment, and if anything should go awry, without doubt it's going to be faced together. It's going to be overcome with determination, passion and love, and that's exactly obviously the resolution that you'd want. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this reading. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Feel free to subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next reading. If you pick pile number 7, here's your reading. So the 7th choice relates to the planet Saturn, and the planets themselves can give us a little bit of an indication as to who's coming towards us just by what the planet's about. In this case, Saturn is the planet of duty, and with it taking so long to orbit the Sun, those represented by the planet apply the slow, steady and reliable essence in their personality to most things. They're patient, methodical, wise, and above all dedicated to whatever draws their attention. The rings around Saturn represent the restrictiveness of these individuals. They often feel tied to their choices, unable to break free of commitment and oppressed by their own decisions. They do not back out of things easily and can be guilty of overbearing, fatalistic or pessimistic thoughts. They can also go through bouts of feeling melancholy and harping back into the past and not looking forwards. This relates to the star sign of Capricorn and the day Saturday. I've selected a semi-precious gemstone sphere that relates to each of the planets. It gives us an indication as to the person that's coming towards us and their weaker points or areas they might need to look into and to work on. And with regard to Saturn, I've picked the stone howlite, and I've put the Saturn ring around it just to make it feel a little bit better. The crystal howlite has a calming influence, allowing the mind to be centred and to open up to more spiritual pursuits, which combats an overactive mind. Howlite's used to quell tension, anxiety and stress. This is the perfect stone for a workaholic or someone who is engrossed in the depths of something that they need to stop and to realise what's happening so they can begin to heal the wounds and fill the void that is filled with the mundane. Those represented by the stone howlite have amazing depths that only the right person can tap into. They have a wealth of knowledge and caring and nurturing personality, not to mention a loyal and loving heart. Once triggered and made to feel loved, this individual will reciprocate like no one you have ever met before. So I've picked some tarot cards to represent them, and they are the Six of Cups, the Queen of Swords, the Two of Pentacles, and the Two of Swords. So when you look into these cards, it's an individual that likes to plan. There's a couple of twos there, which I think is actually directing the beginning of trying to make some kind of decision. They like to sift things back and forth through their mind. There's a slight impression of juggling, either keeping the balls in the air or, for instance, financially, when the money comes in one hand, it goes out through the other hand. This person enjoys thinking. They rarely speak their mind unless they're really pressed to. There's not a huge amount of action. As I say, there's a lot of planning going on, and they have a head full of plans and a head full of ideas, but until something actually becomes grounded and centred, it's not turning into fruition at the moment. They really need to make some decisions to pick which path they want to go on to, and to then start putting their energy towards what they want to manifest. I've also picked some cards for you, and they are Justice, the Four of Earth, the Eight of Water, and the Seven of Earth. Trying to weigh up what you want, it seems to be the essence of the cards that have been drawn for you. You don't want a relationship if it's not right for you, but you do have a desire for company, and you do like meeting different people and getting to know different people in different walks of life. Relationships today may have caused some disappointment or some frustration. There's been a need to find someone who mirrors your feelings and who reciprocates the way you look at life and what you actually look for in relationships. And that's not something you've been able to find until now. The cards that represent you when you come together are exchanging gifts and peace. The cards relate to sharing and complementing each other. The attributes or the gifts that you're bringing to the table are the best in both of you, and it allows you to grow together. There's a silent feeling of things being at peace and at one with each other and the universe. This relationship is truly a meeting of feelings and minds, and has amazing depths, I think, that you probably won't see until the relationship really gets underway. But when it does get underway, I think this will all become apparent and come to the fore. The progression of your relationship is great gratitude, and great achievement. These two cards combined, I think the fact that they both have great in the title gives you some idea of the momentum that this relationship can have. I think it's about accomplishment, it's about sharing phases where you're grateful and where you're achieving things together and where you're thankful for that achievement. So two very positive cards in the progression area of the reading. In the obstacles section of the relationship, we've got hostilities and all tied up. There's a danger of becoming too entwined too quickly. There could be hostilities if one of you wants to move at a slower pace and the other doesn't agree. And your summary card is familiar. The familiar card is a representative of an invisible support system. So having a dependable partner, having a supportive family, having friends that you can share things with and who back you. It's not openly something that's physically there, but it's a nice overall wave of caring that is around you. It's something that's unspoken, but it's definitely solid, it's strong, it's a protective field, and it's created on a strong foundation of love, or when love is evolving. So that's a really nice card to finish on. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed your reading. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Feel free to subscribe if you want to, and hopefully I'll see you in the next reading.